I was born with a curiosity to explore the realms of darkness, to seek out the elusive shadows and question their existence, their never-ending convolution with the light. All things were born from this darkness. Question everything. Find your own truth, engage all mysteries, open your mind, and join me on my journey through the darkness. "99% of every species that has ever lived on the Earth is now extinct. Our planet is bound by two rules: change and death. Stars die every day. Scientists say that in 10 billion years our sun will die too, which means we will die as well. But many of us have come to understand that there are countless other ways to meet our doom way before our sun goes dark. Join me on my journey as we take a look into preparation of some of the cataclysmic events that could suppress our civilization to a primitive degree, or worse, cause the extinction of the human race as we know it. Solar flares occur when built-up magnetic energy in the solar atmosphere is suddenly released. Radiation is then emitted across the entire electromagnetic spectrum, from radio waves at the long wavelength end, optical emissions, X-rays, and gamma rays at the short wavelength end. The amount of energy released is the equivalent of millions of 100 megaton hydrogen bombs exploding at the same time. And if that's not devastating enough, on the night of November 11, 2012, a near miss from a solar flare nearly crippled the power grid to all Earth satellites and electronics. The solar flare erupted on the opposite side of the sun from Earth. Had it not, can you imagine the global chaos that would devastate our technologically dependent civilization? An electronic Armageddon due to an electromagnetic pulse, or EMP. The cause of an EMP? The detonation of a nuclear weapon in high altitudes. This is another power grid paralyzer. Phones, radios, televisions would be useless. The internet would no longer exist. Hospitals and prisons would be powerless. Electricity, a thing so many of us take for granted, would be no more. A 100% guaranteed doomsday event that will occur is a devastating impact from an asteroid, meteor, or a comet. Every couple of years, life as we know it is threatened by these flying cosmic destroyers. Evidence suggests that the dinosaurs were made extinct by such an incident, and as the saying goes, history tends to repeat itself. Modern science can only estimate a small percentage of the billions of flying rocks in our solar system alone, and if not for our giant galactic neighbor Jupiter, Earth would be at a much larger risk of destruction from these flying space rocks. Imagine a burst of energy so powerful, even at 1,000 light years away, would cause total annihilation of every living being on the planet. When two collapsed stars merge together, they create a monster known as a gamma ray burst. While such an event is rare, scientists have observed this very event in distant galaxies. Although unlikely, if a gamma ray were to occur near us, the ultraviolet rays would cook off our atmosphere and destroy our ozone layer, killing off the photosynthetic plankton that provide our planet's oxygen, destroying life on this planet. In 1918, 20 million lives were lost due to an outbreak of influenza, and in the 14th century, the Black Plague wiped out 1/4 of the population of Europe. Global epidemics are a very real threat and should not be taken lightly. Biological agents have been developed by terrorists and enemy nations across the globe, with new and more advanced viruses being introduced to the world in mass experiments, natural occurrences, or by accident. These ancient destroyers have been sleeping beneath us, waiting for a little pressure to wake them up and send the planet into darkness. Supervolcanoes are said to erupt once every 100,000 years on average. The last supervolcano erupted 26,500 years ago, creating Lake Taupo in New Zealand. The eruption of Mount Tambora in Indonesia in 1815 sent a plume of gas and heated ash 28 miles into the sky. The eruption itself killed nearly 10,000 people. The skies darkened for a whole year, and an additional 82,000 more died because of crop failure, starvation, and disease. The scariest part? The Mount Tambora volcano isn't even a supervolcano. Other possible doomsday events: nuclear winter brought about by thermonuclear war, biological weapons, particle accelerator mishap resulting in a black hole eating the Earth, reversal of the Earth's magnetic fields, artificial intelligence takeover. There are so many factors that can be contributed to a possible Armageddon, none of which we can fully prepare for. It's impossible to know exactly what will occur in the here and now, but you can try and prepare for multiple scenarios to further your chances of survival. Survival is the most primordial ideal and truth to mankind, but the rule exceeds even that. All animals and living things also have this ordained instinctual rule. Even in the cases of suicidal animals, plant life, microbes, and atoms, some die off to maintain the order of things. The idea that a few may be sacrificed so that others may live and grow. It's the same in the universe as well. It's a cycle of consume and evolve. When a star dies, it is not destroyed. It becomes something else, ever-changing until its cycle is complete and all its energy exhausted. Stars with very large mass become black holes, while others become red giants or white dwarfs that later become black dwarfs. Some stars shed their energy into space, creating planetary nebulas, and some become supernova. The cycle of all things, beginning from the existence of all things. Even the universe has its own ancient measures of survival, always expanding and filling the darkness with light. But even the vast universe will be doomed and sucked back into the vortex that created it, and so the cycle will begin again, like a droplet of water creating the waves of life that will one day fade out until the next droplet creates new waves. All cognitive creatures have this impending trepidation of doom. We know our limits and our fragility, and we feel this as weakness. Survival of the fittest is as true as life itself, and therefore our hearts crave existence and being. Therefore it is the makeup of all things to maintain and be. It's only in death that we release the constant worry of this existence and embrace the entity that comes after. We are all a part of the same thing, built from the same atoms, and therefore always in existence. Like everyone else, I seek life and belonging. I cling to survival in the vessel I am a part of. Life is a precious embrace of experience, and I too wish to experience this existence for as long as I'm able to hold on. That means making my chances of death as minimal as possible. But I am also aware that as prepared as I may be, I cannot be fully prepared without some divination as to what the future might unfold. But I do feel survival should be better practiced. We have grown so lazy with the conveniences of modern living and rely too often on manufactured assistance. But it's important to trace back to the times of our ancestors, a time before TV dinners and electricity. This is the way the world once was, and it won't take much to render the things we take for granted useless. While I am in no means equipped with the state-of-the-art underground bunker, nor do I have a full year's stock of food and water, I do study botany so that I know which plants are edible and which will kill me if ingested. I think knowing your plants is one of the most important things you can learn to enhance your chances of survival, but collecting is on the top of my list of things to have in preparation for Doomsday. Not only can books educate you on how to forage, hunt, make fire, or other useful knowledge, but they can also be used for entertainment, and more importantly, to keep a historical record of our experiences as a race. I have also taken a lot of time in the study of human interactions and psychology. I feel that it's important to see inside a person's character, to know if they can be trusted or if they are a threat. I have never been in a doomsday scenario, but I feel that people need each other. It's in our makeup, and knowing people by their body language will be very useful in a doomsday scenario. Every person on this planet is a cognitive self, and therefore selfish by nature, and will do whatever it takes to enhance their chances of survival. Although I wish I could jump on the bandwagon of extreme survivalism, I have a more realistic mindset that, no matter how hard you try, and no matter how prepared you think you are, you're really not that prepared. There's no possible way to prepare for every outcome that could bring the apocalypse to your front door. I think one of the most important things you can do is learn all you can about foraging and surviving of what the earth has given us. Take a family vacation in the extremes and the elements of Mother Nature. Teach them about survival, but don't stray from the awesome and exciting things of our modern world. While survival is very important, I don't want to spend my life afraid and worried, spending every waking hour preparing and living for a future that is unknown, instead of enjoying the beauty of life in the here and now. Life is so very fragile. We are so lucky to be here, preparing for our inevitable end.